so excited to be here today. So 3 years ago, I stood on a stage, much like this one, and pitched my promising practice Compassionate Contact Core at that year's Shark Tank finalist competition. So at the time, I really didn't know much about VA innovation, but I did know Compassionate Contact Core was successfully reducing loneliness for veterans. You see, Compassionate Contact Core is a social prescription program matching trained VA volunteers with veterans who may be feeling lonely. Volunteers call their matched veteran about once a week to provide friendly conversation and companionship. It's really a pretty simple phone buddy program with a really big impact. And with the help of Diffusion of Excellence, we were able to grow Compassionate Contact Core from its 8 original sites to 117, inching me closer. Thank you. Inching me closer to my ultimate goal that every veteran across VA who may be feeling lonely has access to one of these volunteer phone buddies. But as other innovators in the room may have experienced, sometimes success with one project just agitates ideas for another. And that's really what happened to me. You see, from the early development of Compassionate Contact Core, I readily acknowledged that not every veteran who's feeling lonely is going to want to talk on the phone. Some are going to prefer in-person socializing. Others are going to want virtual options. So it got me researching what other programs are out there helping veterans to socially connect. So I learned about Dr. Jay Gorman's Veteran Socials and Shauna Portner's Power of Living Connected for veteran caregivers. I learned about some non-VA options like Regiment Gaming and Creative Forces. In fact, I found out there was over 45,000 military-focused nonprofits, many of which are helping veterans to socially connect. So earlier this year, I really wanted to put together a social connection workshop. I wanted to pull together VA leadership, frontline staff, researchers, and community partners so we could all share information about the great work everyone was doing, talk about the gaps, what have we been missing, and then discuss what do we see as the future of VA social health care. And so this past June, I held a 4-part virtual social connection workshop series. And it turned out it was a really effective way to pull together this coalition of stakeholders and experts focused on reducing veteran loneliness. But what I heard from so many coalition members and from the veterans and caregivers that I work with was this really common phrase of, wow, I never knew this resource existed. Ideas got agitated again. So as a sidebar, I have been a social worker for over 20 years. And the backbone of my profession is addressing social drivers or social determinants of health. So these are those non-clinical factors that impact health outcomes. Think of things like transportation access, food security, social connectedness. So oftentimes I'll meet with a veteran, I'll do a social driver of health assessment. If I identify some unmet social need, I will then scurry over to my computer and I print off a resource list. And I then hand that resource list to this struggling veteran and say, here, you can go on these websites and send these emails and make these phone calls and get yourself connected to this maze of community resources. Not very veteran-centered. Resource lists are outdated and inefficient. I have no way of tracking outcomes. I have no way of knowing whether or not that veteran actually connected to any of those resources. In fact, there was a study done a couple years ago in North Carolina that showed 2 weeks after doing a social driver of health assessment, less than 20% of patients had actually started services. Resource lists have embedded health inequities. They aren't standardized. So veterans can get one set of resource information from one staff and others from another, based on their knowledge and awareness of the available resources. Outdated and inefficient. So about a year ago, I learned about social driver of health information exchange platforms. This is a digital health technology solution offering a secure closed-loop referral process between two historically siloed systems, healthcare and social services. Platforms offer a more modern, efficient way to process and coordinate social driver of health referrals. Using a platform reduces the wait time to connect to a resource from an average of 9 days down to 2.5 days. One study showed that 76% of referrals placed on a platform had a successful connection rate, meaning the patient actually received the resource they were referred for. The data, the testimonies, the research I've done on these platforms is clear. And that's why I'm really excited in the next year of my Innovation Fellowship to pilot one of these secure closed-loop referrals to demonstrate its value in transforming healthcare. So to wrap up, I just want to make a final comment about innovation. Innovation is not created at VACO, in boardrooms, or in ELT offices. Innovation is created by frontline staff like me. Innovation is created by frontline staff who are agitated by outdated and inefficient processes. And sometimes that agitation leads to an agitation of ideas, that agitating voice in the back of your head that says, why can't we just do it like this? So my call to action to everybody in the room today is to listen to that agitation, because that is how innovation is created, and that is how we transform healthcare. Thank you.